Ick.
What are you saying ick for? Yo, I've met so many women that are flat earthers. It's crazy.
Good.
So this stigma that if you're a flat earther, don't tell any women that. Nah.
Let your freak flag fly, homie.
Women are into the truth. I've gathered.
It took you 38 years of being on this plane to realize that women like the truth, huh?
But they like the truth of where they live too.
It's all about control. There are a small group of people who want to control the world. They've educated us into this world, into this globe spinning, heliocentric Big Bang evolution world. As soon as I got that, I spent every waking hour looking for things and testing things, and it's the truth. And we recognize the truth when we hear it. I've been an atheist for 40 years, and now I know for a fact there is a creator. I've seen his fingerprint, not just with the flat earth. Everything I've done in the last 5 or 10 years has led me to see that there is a creator now. I'm now following the commandments and trying to be the best human being that I can be. This is a profound shift in consciousness.
I am the highest version of myself. I'm the highest version of myself. I know I am that I am.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Godspeed Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Guy.
And I am Danny. It's everything.
Nothing to open today? How are you?
Oh, so good, dude.
How's life?
Good, man. Really good. How's things going for you?
Fantastic.
I just got back from this place called Schnepp's Farms. Dude.
Fruit farm?
Is peach pie a fruit?
There's peaches in it. I mean, probably artificial peaches. Maybe.
No, they grow them there, and then they make the pie. I mean, there's a lot of pies. They make them all right there.
Okay. Well, there's that.
So many pies. You know how much pie I ate?
A lot.
You are correct, my friend. A lot. So I signed up for a lifetime membership. I don't know if you knew they had those at farms that sells pie.
No.
I have a lifetime membership. I figured, I've had this Planet Fitness membership for years that I just keep paying. I don't go to.
That you don't use.
So I canceled that one, signed up for the pie membership because we both know I'm going to use that. So at least I figured I'd get my money's worth out of this.
Okay. That's good.
What's up with you, man? What's new for you?
Just living the dream over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a meme the other day. Instead of saying living the dream, you say the nightmare persists, but so do I.
No. So I literally am living the dream. I'm not saying it's just like, the saying like, oh, living the dream. When people really mean it like, yeah, I'm totally living the dream. No, I am living the dream. Like, life is amazing.
Good for you, man.
Life is incredible.
Good. What's making it so incredible?
I don't know.
You're just...
I don't know.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's
even... Every day is great, though.
Yeah, I know. I agree. Every day is a gift.
Every day is pretty fantastic. Absolutely. It is a gift.
Yeah.
You got to treat it as such, and it will become one.
If you can believe, you can achieve.
Now you're just saying corny sayings. But you find what you're looking for.
Yeah.
In life.
Yep. Well, I've been looking for $10 million for a very long time.
When you say that you want $10 million, what you're saying to the universe is, I don't have $10 million.
Both statements are true.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to act like you already have it, and your gratitude for what you already have will bring abundance into your life.
Bro, if I start acting like I got $10 million, I'm going to get fired from my...
You did yesterday, didn't you?
I'm going to get fired from my job.
Jeez. Hey, It's modern day slavery anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, today we are talking about the moon.
The moon.
Again.
The moon.
But not the moon landing. We're going to be talking about the moon. We're going to be talking about the sun.
Okay.
A little bit of flat earther is going to come out in me today because it's hard to get away from it with the stuff we're going to be talking about. But what are you saying ick for? Yo, I've met so many women that are flat earthers. It's crazy.
Good.
So this stigma that if you're a flat earther, don't tell any women that. Nah.
Yeah,
Women are into it. Women are into truth.
Let your freak flag fly, homie.
Women are into the truth. I've gathered.
How old are you?
I'm not. I don't have an age. I don't celebrate age anymore.
How many years have you been on this planet?
38.
Perfect.
No, there's no plane. I'm on this plane for 38 years.
It took you 38 years of being on this plane to realize that women like the truth, huh?
But they like the truth of where they live too.
All right.
I've known they like the truth. I'm not.
I just want to clarify, man. I just want to clarify.
I'm just letting you know.
Oh, I knew this.
I'm letting you know that you can be a flat earther and still have women like you.
Here's the thing. I don't care.
That's what he says now. All right, so that's what they all say. That's what I used to say too. That's what I used to say too.
All right, let's get into the moon.
All right. So the sun and the moon in the sky. You see the bottom pictures?
Yeah.
They look the same size, right?
Yep.
Yep. That is a plane flying in front of the sun. That is a plane flying in front of the moon on the top. They tell us that the sun is 400 times bigger and 400 times farther than the moon. They look like the same size to me. Wouldn't you say?
Yep.
Isn't it convenient that it's just as far away as it is bigger? It's pretty coincidental, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I could say that is coincidental. Yeah, I could say that.
Very, very, very coincidental.
I mean, if you know anything about ratios, right? You can put a little Tonka truck right here in front of your face, and there could be one coming down the street, or a Hot Wheels.
It's perspective.
Yeah, it's all about perspective. So, that being said, yes, it's very coincidental that they happen to look the same size. That being said, I've been definitely watched sunsets where you can see the sun and the moon in the sky at the same time, and the moon definitely looks smaller. They're not always the same size.
I guess it depends on where you are, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to play a little video for you here.
Okay.
Now, don't be so hard on the video, because I know you're not going to like it. I know you're not going to like this video. You want to know why I know?
How do you know?
Because you hate the guy who's going to be doing it.
Eric Duvet.
But take his info.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have one of these in your fridge right now, you might want to drink it so you can stay awake during this video. This man lulls people to sleep.
He does not. He just gives good info, and he doesn't have a lot of uppity inflection in his voice because he's trying to give you information.
The man has zero pizzazz.
You be the judge.
In the heliocentric model of the cosmos, the moon revolves around the Earth 13 times per year, traveling at 2,288 miles per hour, while the Earth revolves around the sun once per year, traveling at 67,000 miles per hour. The following model and animation illustrate how this is supposed to occur. As you can see, since the moon is revolving around the Earth, which itself is revolving around the sun, in order to maintain its regular orbit, the moon would have to be constantly and drastically changing its speed in ways completely unaccounted for by the model. In the outer part of its orbit, the moon would have to speed up 67,000 miles per hour, in addition to its regular speed of 2,288 miles per hour, just to keep up with the Earth. So the moon would then be traveling at 69,288 miles per hour when it reached the front of the Earth. At this point, since the moon is allegedly 240,000 miles away from the Earth would catch up in just 4 hours, so the moon must continue traveling 67,000 miles per hour along Earth's trajectory, while simultaneously continuing its now perpendicular 2,288 mile per hour second trajectory. Then, as it turns to reach the inner part of its orbit, the moon must now slow back down to its original speed, allowing the Earth to pass by. Lastly, as it passes behind the Earth, the Moon must once again quickly accelerate back up to nearly 70,000 miles per hour before getting left in the dust. In addition to all of this, the Sun itself is allegedly orbiting the Milky Way galaxy at 448,000 miles per hour, further compounding the problems and calculations of the heliocentric model. If this were true, then the Earth, Moon, and other planets would all have yet another set of ridiculous and impossible corkscrewing accelerations and decelerations necessary just to keep up with the Sun. And for the cherry on top, all of these calculations have been assuming perfectly circular orbits, but the actual heliocentric model claims that the Moon's orbit around the Earth's orbit around the Sun, and the Sun's orbit around the Milky Way are all elliptical, not circular, meaning there would be even more additional accelerations and decelerations to calculate depending where each one is along its elliptical path. These constant and drastic accelerations and decelerations necessitated by the heliocentric model are rarely, if ever, mentioned by globe believers, because they have always been taught that the reason we do not feel or experience any of this supposed motion is because we always travel at a constant velocity. In their own model, however, due to their elliptical orbits and revolving around other revolving bodies, the Moon, Sun, Earth, and other planets could not maintain constant velocities, and would instead be regularly accelerating and decelerating. Yet, meanwhile, you can stack a house of cards, make a rock cairn, or play a game of Jenga, all without any of this motion, acceleration, and deceleration ever being felt or experienced.
How was that for you, bud? Did you fall asleep?
Yeah. 6 times.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You were laughing at the stuff you were saying. What do you think?
It's an amazing phenomenon.
Oh my gosh.
Listen, man, I don't claim to be smart enough to understand how all of that shit works. But
because it doesn't.
There's people who are a lot smarter than me who
get paid by the powers that be to tell you that's what happens.
Can I finish my statement?
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
There's people who are a lot smarter than me who went to school to do to learn and to do experiments to do this little thing that I think it's called science, which is proving and disproving theories. That's the whole basis on what science is, right? So
have they proven the theory that we're going that fast? Have they ever been to calculate the speed? No, they have never calculated the speed, ever. They just tell you that's the speed. Also, people think politicians could be paid off, but they don't think scientists could be paid off. Neil deGrasse Tyson isn't paid off. He isn't a failed actor. Oh, no, he is a failed actor. That's right. Bill Nye, this bullshit science guy, he's not an actor. He's a real scientist. No, he's an actor. No scientist has ever proven the speed of the Earth. We're just told that's what it is because we all went to the same propaganda school and read out of the Rockefeller textbooks.
Right. So that being said, if nobody's proved it, nobody's also disproved it.
He just disproved it with all the calculations. There's no possible way that we would be moving that fast and we can't feel it.
I mean,
when you slow down and speed up in a car, you feel it immediately, even if you're not the driver. When you curve and turn and stuff, you feel it. You don't feel it on a spinning ball. Why? Because they say the Earth is too big. Bullshit. You're still going that speed.
When you're on an airplane,
you can still feel it move. You know when you're landing that airplane, and you're in a container. So that's why you're not flung off, because you're inside of a container. Same thing as a car.
Right, but most of the time when you're on an airplane, you can't feel that you're moving at 500 miles an hour.
Because you're inside of a container.
We're inside of.
There's no container on Earth.
I thought we were in a firmament. Isn't that a container?
We are. But in their model, in their round ball model, there is no container. In my model, there is. Because we're not moving in that container anyway.
The atmosphere is a container.
So the atmosphere can cause the Coriolis effect, but a hot air balloon can go up in the sky, and it could hover above the ground for 2 feet, and then the ground doesn't move around it. But snipers need to account for Coriolis.
I don't know.
You can't have it both ways. You can go outside with your drone. The Coriolis effect.
I don't know what that is.
So you can go outside right now with your drone, and you can hover it above the ground, and the ground doesn't move underneath it. Correct?
Yes.
Because we're not moving.
Okay. Good.
Have you ever felt movement while you've been standing outside other than a little bit of wind every now and then?
No, I have never.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, Agree to disagree.
You just said no, you haven't. What do you mean agree to disagree? Stop clinging onto your ball and critical think.
Joe, listen.
This is the moon right here. Okay. That's the moon, right? Up in the left?
Yeah.
You see that moon?
I see it.
Okay. They tell us the moon's light is reflecting the sunlight. The sun is what's lighting the moon up. That's what they tell us. Okay. These other pictures are of light hitting a ball. And what's happening to the ball that's getting hit by light? Is it lighting up the entire ball? Like it's a different source's light? No. Little hot spots are getting lit up on it. So how's the moon getting lit up by the sun? And this is NASA and all the mainstream scientists that you love and believe telling you this. That doesn't sound stupid to you?
Yeah, but this is a bro.
This is a what?
This is some random experiment. You could recreate anything.
So you think you can go get a reflective ball, and put a light on it and light the entire ball up so it looks like that's where the light's coming from, that ball?
Yes, with like a strong enough floodlight, absolutely. Not a spotlight, which is what was probably used here, or a lamp or some shit, but an actual floodlight that lights up everything, absolutely.
Okay, so when the moon is on the opposite side of your supposed ball, and the moon is lit up like that, the sun is reflecting it, is hitting the sun, and the moon is reflecting off the sun. When they're on, the Earth is in the middle, and they're on these sides, and the moon looks like that. You think that's possible?
I guess. I guess so, man.
You make no goddamn sense.
Okay.
You make no sense.
All right.
You say I guess because you believe a bunch of retards telling you shit.
Okay.
Here's more proof that the moon is its own light source.
Okay, so I set up 2 ladders in the driveway. One ladder has a towel hanging from it, blocking the moonlight from hitting the lower ladder that's laying on the ground. I heard that the moon gives off cold light, so let's find out. Okay, so here's the full moon, and let's check the temperature of the ladder. Okay, on the moon side, it is 74, and in the moon shade, it is 76.2, 73.7, 76, basically. So it's about 2-3 degrees cooler on the moon side versus the moon shade. Okay, let's flip the ladder over. Now we'll check the temperature. That side of the ladder is already back to 75. You can see the temperature dropping on the moon side. 73.9. 74 or something. 73.5. 74.4. 75. 72.8. 75. So basically it's 2 to 3 degrees colder on the moonlight side versus the moon shade side. Okay, now check this out. So like 15 minutes later, the moon is behind the clouds. Okay, let's check the temperature. 75.3, 75.7, 75.9, 75.5, 0.7. So basically almost 7 like 0.1 degree off. So it's when the moon's behind the clouds, as I suspected, the ladder is the same temperature all the way across.
The moon has its own light source. The sun gives off heat, and the moon gives off cold. So if you're in the moon shade, it's warmer in the moon shade than it is not in the moon shade. Just like the sun, it's hotter in the sunlight than it is in the sun shade. The moon gives off its own light. The moon is cold, the sun is hot.
So why is the moon cold?
So the sun...
Why is the moon cold?
It's the opposite of the sun. It's the yin and yang.
Yeah, but that doesn't give me any information scientifically.
What I'm telling you is your mainstream scientists who you believe the gospel of every word they say, except for the moon landing, tell you that the moon is reflecting the sun's light, but the moon is giving off cold air unless you're in the shade.
Right, but
that's what I'm telling you. They're lying to you about the sun reflecting.
Okay, so let's say you're right, but what?
I am right.
Okay,
he just proved it to you. He didn't just prove it to you.
One guy doing an experiment proves nothing. It's a closed. It's a sample.
He just literally flipped the ladder in front of you and showed you it wasn't just the ladder.
It's a sample size, man. Like, come on,
dude. There's multiple videos that you can find of people doing that same exact experiment.
So why is moonlight colder?
I don't know.
Well, what the fuck? You guys know everything.
I never said I know everything.
Flat earthers know everything about why we're being lied to. Why is
no? Because flat earthers don't claim to know everything. When you tell me what's beneath us, I can't tell you because we only went down 8 miles. Flat earthers don't claim to know everything. We just know we're not barreling through outer space because that can be proven very easily, but people want to ignore it.
Okay.
You just make no sense.
All right.
You act like I've said I know everything. I never once said I know everything. I'm very honest about the things I don't know. I know that the moon gives off its own light, though, because that one experiment that you just talked about, there's a shit ton of videos of people doing the same experiments, but I'm not going to pull up the same experiment over and over again. But people can go find them very easily on YouTube, on any social media site. Just type in moon shade.
Okay. Anytime I'm privy to new information, I'm going to change my mind. Like, that's part of being intelligent, is being receptive to information and thinking about it. And
oh, I know. Trust me. I've changed my mind. I used to believe we lived on a spinning ball until I looked at evidence.
Yeah, but
and listened to the evidence.
Yeah, but dude, the evidence you've looked at and listened to has been via YouTube and the internet. You can find any information to back up any claim you want on the internet right now. Anything you want.
Yeah, but you have to look at the actual evidence, dude. Look, you have to look at the math and the real science. Just because someone made a video on YouTube or the internet doesn't mean they're wrong. It means that they're not in the mainstream bullshit.
But it also doesn't mean that they're right, because you can literally make anything you want and put it out there.
If you look at the globe's math, when I told you that if you're standing on a beach, shit disappears. If you look at the globe's math, not a flat earther's math, the globe's math, it completely debunks that we live on a ball. 1,000%. 1,000%. Without a doubt.
And just like the videos that I've seen that debunk it, I've also seen videos that back it up. So,
what videos that debunk it?
That's what I'm saying. Like, when you say you should be able to, or things completely disappear, right? Or should. I've seen both videos, man. I've seen both.
Show me, please look right now. Go find a video that shows you that debunks that we can see too far. Please. Because I can show you multiple videos that we can definitely see way too far. You could see mountains from thousands of miles away when the sun backlights them.
Granted, I don't have all the answers, but like I said,
because you don't have those videos. You're just saying you've seen those videos, and I want proof.
Okay, so I'm not going to spend an hour right now searching for shit to send you, but after this episode, I will waste my time and do it. Or I'll send them to you tonight, so when you edit this video, you can have shit to see. I'll send you a ton of stuff. Absolutely.
Okay. Please do.
I will. You're not going to like it because it's people that disagree with your point of view, but it's fine.
I'm not going to like it because it's people that disagree with my point of view. I've never seen that video that shows you there's curvature, because curvature has never been calculated. Submarines use lasers and prove that there's no curvature.
If you just looked at the northern hemisphere, you can see there's not a whole lot of difference, because the flat Earth model shows the northern hemisphere in the center, and it's not very different. But if you look at the southern hemisphere, now what's called the Southern Ocean, which goes around Antarctica, now becomes this huge ring which encompasses all of what we call the northern hemisphere right here. So it should be easy to find differences between places that are in the southern hemisphere. And one way you can do that is by looking at a Mercator map, which stretches out things equally from the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere to represent a round globe on a flat surface, but in a very different way than flat Earth model. The way I'm going to do that is by looking at 2 round-the-world trips, one in the northern hemisphere, going from Shanghai to Los Angeles to New York City to Dubai and back to Shanghai, versus a round-the-world trip from Sydney, Australia, Santiago, Chile, Sao Paulo, Brazil, Johannesburg, and then back to Sydney. And on the flat Earth model, it's pretty easy to tell that it would be a much, much longer trip doing this in the southern hemisphere between these cities in red versus the much shorter trip in the northern hemisphere. On the Mercator projection map, the trips look about equal, where because they're both about the same distance from the equator, and I tried to pick routes that would keep about the same distance from the equator. So on a round Earth model, you expect the times to be about the same. While in the flat Earth model, the southern hemisphere round the world trip should take a lot longer. And I mapped them all out, and Shanghai to Los Angeles, JFK, here we go. And the total for that trip would be about 40 hours and 58 minutes. In the southern hemisphere, which the flat Earth model, which says should take much, much longer, actually is slightly less, a little less than about an hour less. So, which makes no sense in a flat Earth model. So here are the times all written out. From New York to Dubai and Sydney to Santiago, on this map, it looks about right. They look about the same distance, and sure enough, they should take about the same amount of time. But on the flat Earth model, there's no way that the Sydney to Santiago trip should take just 10 minutes more than New York to Dubai. If you were to measure this out, put your hand up to the screen, and you'll see that it's actually twice as long a line, the red one here. Why, on a flat Earth model, can you explain, would it take longer to go from Los Angeles to Sydney than it would take going from Santiago, Chile to Sydney? And that's ignoring the fact that if you were to go on a flat Earth model, you would expect to have to go over North America unless you went way around. And you would never go anywhere near, for example, New Zealand, which is off this map. And that is the basics. But if you want to just check, if you look on Google Earth, you can actually measure the distance between Los Angeles and Sydney, 12,050 miles. And Sydney to Santiago is 11,362, which explains why it's actually a shorter trip.
Another supposed proof often offered up by globe debaters involves alleged time and path issues with long-haul southern hemisphere flights. For example, the direct flight route from Sydney, Australia to Santiago, Chile takes an average of only 13 hours to reach its destination, a duration which globe earthers claim is impossible over a flat Earth. They say that since the Sydney to Santiago flights with US stopovers take twice as long to reach their destinations as the non-stop flights, that this proves the direct flights are not traversing the US and could not be completed so quickly over a flat Earth. As with all globe arguments, however, this hasty conclusion does not follow from their spurious reasoning. To begin with, if Earth were truly a sphere, the shortest route for all such flights would be a straight line over Antarctica. If this flight path was actually possible, it would cut off many hours and many hundred miles. But pilots are given the excuse that Antarctica is too cold to fly over, so not a single plane actually takes the shortest, fastest route over a spherical Earth. Now, even conceding this point, if Earth were truly a sphere, then the second shortest route for all such flights would be a straight shot due east or west over the Pacific, staying in the southern hemisphere for the entire flight. Refueling could even be done in New Zealand or other southern hemisphere destinations along the way, if necessary. In reality, however, 99% of Santiago to Sydney and other long-haul southern hemisphere flights, admittedly, cross the equator twice, going high into the northern hemisphere, making stopovers at LAX and other North American airports before continuing back down to the southern hemisphere. Here are a few more examples. On a globe, Santiago, Chile to Johannesburg, South Africa should be an easy flight, all taking place below the Tropic of Capricorn in the southern hemisphere. Yet every listed flight makes a curious refueling stop in Senegal near the Tropic of Cancer in the northern hemisphere first. When mapped on a flat Earth, the reason why is clear to see, however, because Senegal is actually directly in a straight line path halfway between the two. On a globe, Johannesburg, South Africa to Sao Paulo, Brazil should be a quick, straight shot over the Atlantic along the 25th southern latitude, but instead, nearly every flight makes a refueling stop at the 50th degree north latitude in London first. On a globe, Johannesburg, South Africa to Perth, Australia should be a straight shot over the Indian Ocean with convenient refueling possibilities on Mauritius or Madagascar, but in actual practice, most Johannesburg to Perth flights curiously stop over in either Dubai, Hong Kong, or Malaysia. On a globe, Cape Town, South Africa to Buenos Aires, Argentina should be a straight shot over the Atlantic following the same line of latitude across, but instead, every flight goes to connecting locations in the northern hemisphere first, stopping over anywhere from London to Turkey to Dubai. Such ridiculously wayward detours as these make no sense on the globe, but make perfect sense and form nearly straight lines when shown on a flat Earth map. As for the Sydney to Santiago direct flight, data from Google Flights cites an average duration of 13 hours and 22 minutes, with data from Google Earth citing a total distance between the two of 7,063 miles. Dividing 7,063 miles by 13.3 hours gives a necessary average flight speed of 531 miles per hour, which according to Google Search is just below the 540 mile per hour average flight speed of commercial airliners. In other words, not only are such flights easily possible over a flat Earth, but they also take exactly the amount of time expected. Some globe debaters will acknowledge this fact, but rebut with the claim that non-stop Sydney to Santiago flights follow a Great Circle route over the Pacific, remaining in the southern hemisphere the entire time, therefore increasing the necessary flight distance, speed, and duration. With regards to this claim, firstly, it is yet to be proven that these flights even exist, since no unedited video footage exists online, and every time flat earthers have attempted to book the non-stop flight, it fails to go through, gets cancelled and refunded days before departure, or changes to a non-direct flight. Secondly, if they do exist, it is yet to be proven that these flights follow such a path, because again, there is no unedited video footage, flight trackers cut out over the oceans, and it is highly unlikely, considering 99% of other long-haul southern hemisphere flights take radical northern detours. Even conceding all of the above, however, there is still no reason that such flights would be impossible over a flat Earth. 540 miles per hour is the average commercial airline speed, but most Convairs and Boeings have the capability of traveling much faster, especially during such long-haul flights, upwards of 600 to 800 miles per hour. The Concorde commercial airliner actually had a maximum flight speed of a whopping 1,480 miles per hour. Furthermore, trade winds and jet streams exist, which pilots regularly take advantage of, that can boost airspeed up to an extra 200 miles per hour. Therefore, even if such a flight exists, and travels non-stop the exact route globe debaters claim, by simply speeding up and taking advantage of trade winds and jet streams, planes would still be perfectly able to reach their destination, on time, over a flat Earth.
Dude, it's science that they figured out hundreds of years ago, man. Like, that the Earth is round. They figured this out hundreds of years ago.
No, they didn't. There's no science to that the Earth is round. No, they didn't.
They absolutely did.
No, they didn't, dude. Right. I'm telling you right now.
All right.
Dude, I spent months trying to debunk Flat Earth. Months. And that's how I know you're not going to find those videos. You're going to find Professor Dave spouting a bunch of fucking nonsense.
I definitely watched a video about a guy who put a stake in the ground, right? And then rode a...
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Rode a bike for however many hundreds of miles away. And when you use the math that they tell us to use, the shadow adds up, man. That the Earth is round.
That experiment that I know exactly what you're talking about, that experiment is based off them assuming that the Earth, or that the sun's rays are coming in directly straight. Have you ever in your life seen the sun's rays come straight down? No, they always spread out. You used to go to the beach all the time. They're crepuscular rays. They don't come straight down. They come spread out.
That's pretty sure around well, depending on where you're at, around noon, the sun is directly above you, correct?
Yeah.
So wouldn't the rays come?
And the rays, if there's clouds, you still see the rays spreading out. They're never straight down, ever. Ever, ever.
So you're saying...
Because the sun is local. It's not 93 million miles away.
Listen, man, we're never going to agree on this.
One of the most common alleged proofs quoted for the spherical Earth theory is the Eratosthenes sticks and shadows experiment. Many people may remember NASA spokesman Carl Sagan presenting this experiment by using a map of Egypt with two obelisks attached and showing their resulting shadows. The story goes that around 250 BC, a Greek mathematician and philosopher named Eratosthenes noted that at noon, during the summer solstice in Syene, the sun cast no shadow, and the rays could reach straight to the bottom of his well. Yet, meanwhile, in Alexandria, a vertically standing metal rod cast a significant shadow. Eratosthenes, Carl Sagan, and other globe proponents reasoned that this result is impossible on a flat Earth. To quote Carl Sagan, "If at a certain moment each stick casts no shadow at all, that is perfectly easy to understand, provided the Earth is flat. If the shadow at Syene is a certain length, and the shadow at Alexandria is the same length, that also makes sense on a flat Earth. But how could it be, Eratosthenes asked, that at the same instant there was no shadow at Syene and a very substantial shadow at Alexandria? The only answer, he claimed, was that the surface of the Earth is curved." After reaching this conclusion, Eratosthenes then famously factored the length of the two shadows with his assumed distance to the sun and recorded a measurement of the globe Earth's circumference close to what heliocentrist astronomers still use today. The fact of the matter is, however, that Eratosthenes, Sagan, and others are simply incorrect in their assumption that this would only be possible on a curved Earth. In reality, the exact same results occur on a flat Earth with a local sun. Eratosthenes' calculations were made assuming the sun to be millions of miles away so that its rays would fall perfectly parallel, even in points as divergent as Syene and Alexandria. Anyone familiar with the phenomenon known as crepuscular rays, however, knows full well that the sun's rays simply do not fall perfectly parallel, especially at such distant points, rendering the entire argument moot. Furthermore, using sextants and plane trigonometry, by measuring the sun's angle at 2 points on Earth simultaneously, and factoring their distance from each other, the Pythagorean theorem reveals that the sun is not millions of miles away, but instead less than a few thousand. High-altitude balloon footage has also filmed lighting hotspots on clouds, further proving the sun to be local and acting as a spotlight. Therefore, if globe believers wish to be honest, they must admit it is their faulty assumption that only a distant sun with parallel rays could produce such results, which has led to their faulty conclusion of a curved Earth. Because flat earthers have always maintained that the sun was local, and the very existence of crepuscular rays render the entire experiment invalid.
Because you're not listening to anything I show you. You just believe you think that regular people are just dicking around on the internet. You can find anything on the internet. No, you just think people are dicking around when they're actually giving you proof. But you're believing Neil deGrasse Tyson.
No, I'm believing people who are far smarter than anybody who put out a YouTube video about science.
You don't know that. You have no idea. These people are
fucking. You know what it takes to go to
bought and paid for shills. That's what they are.
Yeah, because there's no people who are much smarter than us that go to prestigious colleges who literally spend their lifetime doing science.
Here's a scientist.
One thing, you have a theory about the moon, and we expect to be able to get observable facts about the moon fairly soon. What is your theory?
Well, it is by now rather more than a theory. 10 or 11 years ago, I stated to various scientists that the moon is not a piece of rock, but it is a plasma phenomenon, cosmic plasma, and that this fact will eventually be confirmed. I made certain predictions which were already confirmed in 1958, and the situation now is coming close to a complete confirmation.
What will be the result if you're proved to be correct in your theories?
The result will be profound and decisive, because it will give proof that a complete reinvestigation of the laws of nature is necessary. Because if the moon is a plasma, no man will ever land on it. The soft landing attempts will all fail. That means that the mass of the moon is far less than is currently assumed. It's in a different state of energy, and it has far less mass. That means there is no more explanation for the tides. If the moon, for example, had only 1,000th part of its current mass, then the tides would only be 2 inches high under conventional theories instead of sometimes 14 feet. And that means that if it is proved that the moon is a plasma, then all gravitational theories are out, and a new concept of the cosmos and of its laws has to be evolved.
Aren't you being a bit adventurous, though, because you know that we're going to be able to test out your theories on the moon fairly soon?
Well, not anymore. 11 years ago, of course, it was rather taking a risk. I was considered a lunatic, of course. But by now, the evidence, accumulated evidence, is already so much in my favor that I'm not taking any risks anymore. On the contrary, there is scientific views expressed all over the world now that the moon seems to be of a quite different nature of what was assumed.
But the Americans and Russians are thinking of landing men on it.
Well, that will never happen. Not on the moon.
Interesting. I guess, why aren't there more scientists that agree?
They're being silenced, like I told you. The doctors are being silenced with COVID. It's the same shit, dude. It's censorship. This is the biggest lie. This right here, Flat Earth, is the biggest lie that they've ever done. 1,000% the biggest lie they've ever done. Bigger than the history is lie. Bigger than everything we've done so far. Flat Earth is the biggest lie. And that's why it's so... Dude, you go on YouTube, all these YouTube guys that you say are lying and they don't know what they're talking about, look at the bottom of every single one of their videos. There's a big old fucking bar underneath it that says, Flat Earth is a archaic theory that has been debunked multiple times. Why are they putting that on the bottom of the videos? Why do they do that with every single video when they don't want you to know the truth about something? They wouldn't give a shit if they knew. If it was really fake, they wouldn't give a shit and they wouldn't waste their time with it. Tell me I'm wrong. If it was fake, tell me I'm wrong. Why would they waste their time with it if it was really fake? This is a NASA video of the dark side of the moon. This is officially released by NASA. This video right here is the real moon revolving around the real Earth. Please tell me you see any clouds moving on this Earth, and please tell me you don't see a green line where that black shadow is on the moon, clearly being edited. That's the dark side of the moon right there, that NASA tells you is the dark side of the moon. That's the real moon and the real Earth. No clouds are moving at all. Come on. Why are they lying so hard?
Bro,
if your scientists are correct and they're
first of all,
they really know what they're talking about, why are they lying so hard?
They're not my scientists.
Yes, they are.
They're mine. Okay.
Yeah, they're not mine. The sure as hell ain't mine. So you thought that was a real video of the moon passing the Earth, huh? No. No, I give you. Why? So why are they lying?
How the fuck do I know? You tell me. Why are they lying? You're the one. Here's the thing.
Because they don't want you to know where you are.
Why?
They don't want you to know where you live. They don't want you to have your true power.
Why?
They want to control you.
True power?
They want you to think that you're living on a spinning ball barreling through outer space and you could die at any minute.
What's my true power?
The human body has so much more power than they tell us.
Like what?
We've talked about this on the freaking Creating Your Reality episode. I said this at the beginning of the episode. You find what you're looking for. 100%. If you hate your life and you think you suck, you're going to hate your life and you're going to think you suck. If you know you're amazing, then everything will come to you that's amazing because you're grateful for your life. If you hate your life, you're going to hate your life. Just like I did for years. That's just my take. But I'm a crazy flat earther.
But that's a superpower? You're saying they don't want us. You're saying that they don't want us to know that.
There's so much more that goes into everything. Like if you knew where you lived, that's how it started for me, dude. I'm gonna do a separate episode. Okay, it's not gonna be a part of the podcast. I'm literally gonna detail my entire journey and what has happened. And I'm telling, dude, it's once you find out where you live, your entire life changes. That's why when people say they don't care and it doesn't matter to them, I used to say that exact same thing until I actually looked at the evidence and realized where I lived and figured out that we are special beings and we were put here on purpose, for a purpose.
So by that theory, every flat earther is living the most amazing life ever, right?
Most of the ones that I've watched, yeah, because once you figure out you live on a flat earth, you figure out you're creating your reality, you stop killing animals, you start eating better, you get healthier, you get on a higher frequency, and you're literally happy every day. Flat Earth Dave was on our episode 5, and he literally used to make tons of money at a solar company. And then he shut down his solar company and he literally just does interviews and he's living the dream. Like he does what he loves, talking about flat earth, and he's making tons of money off of it because he created it for himself. He doesn't work the modern day slavery jobs like me and you do anymore. That's why I'm doing this podcast, because I want me and you to not live the modern day slavery jobs anymore. You create your reality. Once you figure out that you're perfectly created, you were in a big bang, you were an explosion created from nothing, and you know you're in the center of the universe, you want to do better. You want to be happy all the time. You're actually grateful for being here.
I'm already those things, and that has nothing to do with flat earth or round earth or anything to do with that. Right. I'm very grateful for what I have.
I'm telling you your life changes once you figure it out. That's all I'm saying. Here's another video.
You hate me so much right now.
The moon is the same size and distance as the sun and follows close to the sun's path, the ecliptic. The moon takes about 24 hours and 51 minutes to complete a revolution above us, slower than the sun. The moon is always close to the ecliptic, within 5 degrees above or below. It also comes and goes, just like we saw with the sun. The moon crosses the sun's ecliptic approximately every 2 weeks. These crossings are known as lunar nodes. If it crosses the ecliptic at full moon, we have a lunar eclipse. If it crosses the ecliptic at new moon, we have a solar eclipse. Remember this for later. The moon takes an average of 29 days, 12 hours and 44 minutes to go through one lunar month, one lunar cycle. From new moon, through waxing, full, waning,
back to new moon. Because of this motion, the moon has a point in time each lunar month when it is closest to the Earth, perigee, and a point in time where it is farthest from the Earth, apogee. The sun moves faster than the moon. The sun catches up with it, creating a new moon, and then speeds ahead of it. More accurately here, we can see the lunar phases are caused by the relative geometry of the moon to the sun in the flat Earth sky. These two luminaries are linked by what one could call pranic, magnetic electro, or chi energy. The first quarter moon is when it is half illuminated, and occurs when the sun and moon are 90 degrees apart in the sky. At full moon, the moon is fully powered and fully illuminated, when the sun and moon are 180 degrees apart in the sky. The moon self-luminates and self-deluminates. It powers up and powers down. There is evidence to suggest this geometric relationship creates the tides in the oceans too, as salt water is ionized and can react to magnetic electro. Another way of talking about the motion of these luminaries is to say the moon travels 14.5 degrees an hour and the sun 15 degrees an hour. So the moon loses 12 degrees a day on the sun. People are okay that the sun is self-illuminating, so people should also be okay that the moon is self-illuminating too. A nice way to remember if the moon is waxing or waning is if it is like a letter C or D. A cat goes, waning, and a dog comes, waxing. These phases can be known far into the future due to the sun and moon's constant speeds. This works as a geometric clockwork, a calendar in the sky so to speak. Chinese, Thai, Hindu, Islam and Hebrew calendars still today are linked to the moon cycles, the lunar month. If one photographs the moon 51 minutes later on successive days, note, due to the moon rising about 51 minutes later each day, over one lunar month it will trace out its own analemma. The moon can be seen above in the sky at the same time in distant places. Depending on where one is on a line of longitude, depends on what degree of rotation the moon will be.
Well, what do you think so far?
It's interesting. It's interesting.
Okay.
I don't know how the moon would self-illuminate though. You know, how could it just?
How does the sun?
That, well, from what they tell us, it's a burning ball of gas, right?
That's what they tell us.
To a stationary observer, the moon also appears to rotate as it moves from east to west in the sky. This is only due to perspective. The moon is not actually rotating. It will appear to rotate one way until it is above one's head, and then the other way. Regardless of location, every human on Earth has only ever seen one face of the moon. Therefore it is rational that it appears to many human subconscious and conscious mind as spherical. In a waning phase, the closer the sun gets to the moon, the more power, or self-illumination, the moon loses. And when the sun is very close to the moon, it loses its power. It loses its self-illumination. The moon disappears. Some say we should really see a black silhouette. We don't though. We see nothing. And can pick up nothing with cameras or telescopes. It's just not there. This new moon really could be just that, a brand new moon. And we will layer up on this information later. Then a few days after new moon, at the waxing crescent phase, one can see the sliver become illuminated, and the moon starts gaining its power again. Even at other times during the lunar cycle, we can very rarely see something appear to go through the moon, and in this footage it is unknown if this is a star, wandering star, or high altitude drone. At other times, the moon appears as though the blue sky is coming through the moon, but the moon is higher than the layer of blue sky. So is the moon semi-transparent here? Is the moon not totally there in these instances? When the moon is half illuminated, is the other half there or not? Again, the Luminaries Mysterium has not given us a clear and rational answer as yet. We don't know. We have to continue to revel in the mystery. We don't know what the moon is.
What say you?
Do you think that the moon is like some alien ship that comes and goes?
No.
Well, I like his theory or his thought process at the end. He's like, we don't know what the moon is.
Yeah, I've said that.
I'm on board.
I don't know what the Earth is. I just know what it's not. Because you look at the evidence and you find out what it's not. I can't tell you what the moon is. I already said that. I can't tell you what the moon is. I can't tell you what the sun is. I can tell you what they do. Have you ever seen this video? So this is a guy. Well, he explains what it is actually. It's a quick video though.
Okay.
You see that?
I see it.
Check this out.
So I'm filming one night looking for objects. I pan my camera down and the wave starts, this hologram wave. I don't notice it. And then it catches up to the camera and I do notice it. I glance at the moon, but when you're staring at things, you know, you don't know whether it's your eyes or what. And then I notice a second wave coming. And at this point, I'm thinking it's my camera. I look up at the moon again and, you know, I just don't know what to think. I save the clip out. I don't delete it. I almost did. And I look at it for quite some time, weeks maybe, looking at it over and over, and I'm realizing that, you know, this is not the way a digital camera malfunctions. This is an organic line, no pixelation, no shredding of the signal. And it finally dawns on me that the pan of the camera proves it. When I pan down, and I usually don't shoot this way, I usually stay centered, almost always stay centered, trying to increase my odds of catching something unusual. But when I pan down, the wave starts, and I pan in front of the wave, which catches up to the camera, and that is the proof in the pudding.
Well, it's funny. He talks about how a digital camera works because I just literally watched a video on this. Up until just very recently, the way digital cameras capture images, and especially images that contain light sources, it's a rolling, like, so it doesn't just grab the screen all at once. It literally grabs it from either the top or the bottom and goes up, right? So, like, let's say, let me see. It's the sensor inside the camera. Where's your video? There's a sensor inside the camera, right? Inside your lens. And it'll literally grab whatever you're pointing your camera at and capture the image in that order from bottom to top or top to bottom, right? That's why anytime you're video recording like a TV screen or a computer screen, it has that weird little
up.
Right, because it doesn't just capture the whole thing at once. Sony just introduced a camera that captures everything all at once just recently, over like 3 months ago. Everything before that is, I forget what they call it. It's like, but it's like literally it rolls just like that. So there's a little pushback. That being said, I don't fucking know, dude. I'm not smart enough to figure it out, but it's funny that it kind of just rolled up as he was recording it, because it is a light source, and two, that's exactly how digital cameras do work. And it's coincidental that I just watched a video on that recently, because I'm trying to find a new camera for this whole thing, so I don't have to use this old one I got going on here.
So you can Google stuff.
Anyways, that being said, very interesting video. I've never seen anything like that before in my life, but you know,
there's multiple videos of other people having that happen to them too. But, like it's like the guy said, it's the scientist said it's plasma.
Could be.
And if it's something that's in the firmament, I don't know. That's just a weird video. I have a bunch more stuff on the sun, but we argued for way too long, so
we can do the sun a different day.
Yeah. So this is actually my mouse pad that we're about to go over.
Okay.
Again, I don't know about this one. It's just very interesting.
Could the moon actually be a mirrored image of our whole Earth? Looks familiar,
I hate
right?
This voice.
I don't believe in coincidence. Could this be the land that Admiral Richard E. Byrd claimed to see when he said he saw land past Antarctica as we know it? This is the oldest working astronomical clock in the world, displayed in Prague, and it's based off a geocentric understanding of the universe, not heliocentric.
So what it's saying is that the moon's dark spots of the moon is just a reflection of our land down here.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's interesting. That's a theory I've never heard. Listen, man. At the end of the day, I enjoy hearing different people's perspective, right, and different theories. But the same one over and over again, you know.
The same one over and over.
Yeah. Like that. I
see.
Yeah, no, that's.
And all that black stuff is Antarctica.
Right.
And he just literally zoomed in on all the lands.
Interesting. Huh.
Yeah. So that's what it could be.
Could be.
Like I said, dude, I literally don't claim to know. As a flat earth, I don't claim to know everything.
But
the evidence that I've seen shows that we're not a spinning ball in outer space. The Earth, I'm not saying the Earth is flat. I'm saying we can see way too far. So if the Earth is a ball, for one, there's no proof that it's spinning in outer space. And two, it would have to be 100,000 times bigger than they tell us, just based on how far we can see. I have 2 more pictures to show you.
What I'm saying is, you seem 100% sure that we live on a flat Earth.
I just follow the evidence.
Okay.
Just follow the evidence. Because they're stopping us from going to Antarctica to see what's going on this way. They're stopping us from going up to see what's going on up there. We can't really go all the way down because you can only go 8 miles, 1, and 2. They scare us with blowing up submarines and shit. There's just, everything is about fear and stopping us from doing shit to actually find out where we live. I'm not claiming to know where we live, but I do know that it's from, I'll show you this picture actually. It'll go with it. So on the left, it's human everyday observations, everybody's observations. And on the right, it's NASA and what they're telling us. It feels, my observations, it feels like I'm not moving. NASA, you're moving at over 400,000 miles per hour as well as multiple directions, but you can't feel or detect it. My observations, it looks like the sun moves across the sky. NASA, we move around the sun.
Hold on. So you've heard of sea legs, right?
Sea
legs, right? People who
where you're on a boat.
People who spend a long time on the boat, right? Feels like you get so accustomed to that motion of the ocean that it feels like you're not moving at all on that ship. And then so much so, the moment you step onto land, it feels like you're moving, even though the land is not moving, right? Right? That's a real thing.
Okay. Yes, but the boat is actually moving.
Right. So my point being, right, that we are so accustomed to how the earth is moving that we cannot feel it. Just like the humans get accustomed to how the ships move in the ocean, that they can't feel it until they actually step off of the ship onto land again. Does that make sense?
That I get what you're trying to say.
Thank you. I'll take that. I'll take it.
But look at the list, though. Like, the left is what everybody feels, and the right is what they're trying to fucking feed down our throats.
Yeah, no, I listen, man.
I
trust the government about as much as you do.
No, bullshit. No, because you think we live on a spinning ball.
I don't think the government.
These are the numbers.
The government has anything to do with me believing we live on a spinning ball.
The government is NASA is the government. What do you mean?
Not every scientist works for NASA.
Every scientist works for the government, though. If they're mainstream, yes, absolutely. Here's the numbers for your, and you know that the government and Hollywood and all of them are a bunch of Satan worshiping scumbags. Here are the numbers for your globe and your sun and all this. Look at this. 66.6 degrees around the sun. The Earth orbits the sun at 66,600 miles. Their circumference is 600 times 6 times 6 nautical miles. The speed of sound is 666 knots per second. Look at this shit, dude. It's all satanic crap. All of it.
Speaking of Satan, I just saw this thing that shows that Taylor Swift is the recreation of this satanic princess or something.
Yeah, I'll put her back here.
Supposedly she looks exactly like her.
She does. She does.
Weird. Coincidental, one might say.
Yeah. Dude, it's... Yeah.
What say you about that, sir?
We're not getting into the celebrity episode yet. And the only reason why we haven't done celebrities or pedophiles is because it'll get taken down immediately.
Well, we just have.
And why will it get taken down? Because it's the truth.
Just have to say.
Just
have to say pedophiles or chomos.
Pediolite. Here's the sun giving a reflection off of the dome, and there's a cup giving a reflection off of the glass. How is the sun doing that? What's it reflecting off of if there's no dome above us?
I have no idea. The atmosphere? I don't know.
The atmosphere. That's your fucking response for the atmosphere. Is your response for everything. All right. So you still think the sun and the moon you could land on, and they're rocks out in space?
I don't think you land on the sun.
All right.
The moon,
Even though you know we didn't land on it, but they lied about it for some reason.
I do think they lied about it. Yeah.
So you think the moon is still a rock out in space, and it's reflecting the sun's light, even if it's on the other side of the Earth, on your spinning ball model?
I don't know. I don't know, man.
Okay. Alrighty. Hey guys, subscribe, like, share, comment. Tell this guy that he needs to wake up. I don't know. Do what you want to do.
I'm wide awake. I'm drinking Red Bulls.
Yeah, we got to get into that. All right. Have a good day, guys.
Love you.
Hey,
love
D.
You.
Godspeed.
Love you.
I fucking love you too. Godspeed.
Godspeed.
You've reached the offices of the Godspeed Podcast. We are currently closed. Please leave your information and someone will return your call within 24 business days. Thank you.
This whole thing is about looking deeper than the surface and looking deeper to what they tell you. We all learn the same thing. I learned the same thing as you learned. The difference is looking deeper than what we were told and what we were taught. There is a big reason why certain things are shoved down your throat and thrown in your face and hidden in plain sight constantly, propaganda everywhere. They're telling you to do something over and over and over again. They want you to see this. They want you to watch this. They only show you what they want you to know and what they want you to see and what they want you to think. If they're hiding what the world that you're standing on is, how far do you think these lies can go?